Hello there, grade 4. Today we are going to talk about fractions. What are fractions? Fractions are basically part of something. Something that is whole. For example, a pizza. Let's say a pizza. 8 slices. That gives us 8 slices. And if you're going to form it as a fraction, that would be equivalent. One whole will be equivalent to 8 over 8. Because since we have 8 slices here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? We divided something that's whole to eight slices or 8 pieces, 8 parts. Okay? That's what you mean by a fraction. So if one of you will take, if let's say si Irfan, then we have, let's say, si May, then we have Edge. Out of 8 slices, Irfan ate 3 slices. Out of 8 slices, May ate 2. Out of 8, Edge ate, let's say, 2 as well. So if you're going to express how many pizzas they ate each other, for each person, express it as a fraction. Irfan ate 3 out of 8 slices of pizza. Mimi ate 2 out of 8 slices of pizza, while Edge ate 2 slices of pizza out of 8. Okay? So that's basically how we express a fraction. And if you notice the number of pizzas that they ate, no? Slices of pizza, 3, 2, and 2 will give us 3 slices, 2 slices, and another 2 slices will basically give us 7 slices. And since they ate a total of 7 slices, that's 7 out of 8. And out of 8, if they ate 7, what's left? They ate, Irfan ate 3, May ate 2, and Edge ate 2 as well. So what's left is only 1 slice. 1 slice out of 8 parts. Okay? So that's basically how you write or express things to fractions. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng fractions. Okay? So when we're talking about fractions, let's say in this case, we have 1 over 8. The number above is called a numerator. And the number below is called a denominator. Okay? Klaro ba yan? I hope it's clear. And when we add fractions and whole numbers, plus fractions, this will actually give us, for example, we have 3 plus 1 over 2. We have 5 plus 3 over 7. All you have to do basically is just to put them together. So this will give us 3 and 1/2. And this will give us 5 and 3 over 7. Okay, how you read this in this case lang is you mention the whole number first, so that's 5. And mention the fraction. 3 over 7. Although there are fractions that have their own way of saying it. For example, 1/2, 1 over 2. Instead of saying 1 over 2, you say 1/2. Instead of saying 1/3, you say 1/3. Basically, very easy to say. Okay? So, ang nangyayari dyan, yun na nga, whole numbers and fractions, basically, you just put them together like what we did here. And going back, that when we add whole numbers, plus fractions, this will give us, as a result of having mixed numbers. Some people call it mixed fractions. No, it's not called the mixed fractions. It's called mixed numbers. Because it's a basically combination of two types of numbers, a whole number and a fraction. That's why it's called mixed numbers. Okay. In fractions, by the way, if your numerator are the same, no matter what the value is for the numerator and the denominator, even if it's 750, as long as they are the same, all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is equivalent to 1. When a numerator and a denominator have the same value, it is equivalent to 1. Okay? Just getting the logic from the pizza earlier. No matter how many slices you're going to make out of the pizza, it will still give you one whole pizza. Make sense? Kunwari, even if you're just going to divide it by 4, this will give you 4/4, which is equivalent to one whole pizza. Even if you're just going to divide it by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 6/6, that's still equivalent to one whole pizza. Ganun lang kadali. Okay, this is basically the basics of making you understand the logic of fractions. Okay. So let's say if we have 4 whole squares and 1 is divided into 2, in which 1 is shaded. So technically we can also shade the other holes, no, para this will count as units. Okay. So if you're going to add them all together, you basically group them into whole and fractions. How many whole numbers, whole units do you have? 1, 2, 3. How about fractions? You have 2 units, you have 1, 2. You basically divided it by 2. So that's our denominator is 2. And how many parts are shaded? You basically have only 1 part shaded. So putting them together, that's equivalent to 3 and 1/2. Ganun lang kadali yan. Okay, to understand further, rectangle naman para medyo mahaba. Medyo lang naman, hindi naman gaano kahaba. Okay, in which 1 is divided, let's say, into 4 and 3 units are shaded. Okay. Again, ilan sila? Meron whole units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as a fraction, find out your numerator first by counting the total number of units. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. How many shaded parts? We have 3. Putting them together, that's 6 and 3/4. Ganun lang. Okay, so that's basically easy lang, no? Try natin yung ito naman. Next activity is trying to identify the value of a certain bar within a line graph. Okay? Try natin gawin yan. Let me draw the line muna. Okay, so for example, for this one, we have a number that starts with 0 going to 1, and from 1 going to 2. Okay, so fraction nga, like what I've told you earlier, it's part of a whole number, or part of something. So they are basically between whole numbers. Okay, from 0 to 1, between 1 to 2. So they can be expressed in between, like a decimal. Okay, if you're familiar what decimals are. Okay, so I have one example. Let's start from 0 to 1 because the number of parts is obviously different with the number of parts that we have from 1 to 2. So this is just to show you how to identify what the value is. For example, let's say this one. What's the fraction value of this line over here? So the technique here is just to count the number of lines starting from, do not start from this point. No, you don't start there. Okay? Don't start there, but instead start with the first line given. I'll put a small note here. Start here. Okay, ganyan. So, ano ngayon? Yes, Teacher Mark. Now I know that I'm supposed to start there. Then what do I do now? Okay. All you have to do is to count the number of lines starting at this point until reaching the next whole number, which is what's the next whole number here? It's 1. Okay, count nyo lang yan. So, erase ko muna yung part na to. Okay. Para ma-check ko ng maayos so that you won't get confused. Okay. Here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Ibig sabihin, there are 4 lines, which means there are 4 parts. All you have to do now, you can express your denominator now as 4. Okay. And this line over here, which is what we are looking for, yung may arrow na yan, this one, okay, all you have to do is to count until where it is placed or positioned. So then again, starting from 1, 2, 3. Since this mark lands on the third line, we can say that the value of this is 3 over 4. Okay, try natin mag-identify naman dito. Sa next number, let's try to identify, let's say, possibly 3 values. Okay, let's say 1, 2, 3. Again, paano natin na-identify yan? Again, mag-count tayo starting from the, not starting on the whole number. For example, in this case, kasi we are already talking about this this area here. Okay, wala na to. Hindi na to dito ha. Do not mind this anymore. So the whole number starts here, which means you do not start there, but instead with the first line, which is this one. Okay. So, bilangin muna natin kung ilan yan para malaman natin yung denominator natin until we reach the next whole number. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means we have a total of 8 parts. Now, all you have to do now is para ma-identify nyo lang yung value niya is to count kung pang ilan siya. Okay? So, for example, for this line, erase ko muna kasi medyo nakakalito na tignan. Okay. So which means for this value over here we have 1, 2, so that's 2 over 8. Going to the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 5 over 8. 5, 6, 7, so that's 7 over 8. So ganyan lang how you answer or identify the value of this given line. Okay, within a line graph. Okay, madali lang, di ba? I hope so. Okay, now, learning how many parts there are out of a given whole number. Okay, let's say for example, I'm supposed to give you a whole number. Let's say for example 4. How many halves are there? Plural of half yan. Okay? How many halves do you have with 4 whole numbers or 4 whole units? So, if you're going to take it using a model, you can draw 4 equal units. And all you have to do is to split them in half since it says half. Kalahati, half. Half, oops. Let's try to be equal as much as possible, to be balanced as much as possible. Okay. So a total of, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means out of 4 whole units, you have 8 halves. Ganun lang. Kung ang tinatanong naman sa inyo is thirds, for example, out of 4 units, how many thirds are there? Okay, please, I said thirds, not third. Not thirds. This is, I know you're laughing right now. Okay. Thirds naman. So, ibig sabihin, thirds, basically 3. So, if we have 4 equal units again, you are basically dividing each unit by 3. So, counting everything, all the units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, you have 12 thirds. Now, what if a mixed number is given to you? Let's say we have 6 and 1 half. How many halves are there? Okay, there is a technique here. You don't need, you basically do not need to draw the units. Okay? Anong technique dito? Take the denominator first and multiply it with the whole number. Basically, the same process how you change mixed numbers to improper fractions. Then, when you get your answer, all you have to do now is to take that answer and add it to the given numerator. So, if you're going to write it in a sentence, that's 2 multiplied to 6 plus 1. Okay? 2 multiplied to 6. Then, whatever your answer here is, you add it to the whole number. So, 2 times 6 will give you 12 plus 1 will give you 13 halves. Ganun lang kadali. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, you have 13 halves over here. That's how you basically express if ever lang yan ang binigay sa inyo. Okay. Teacher Mark, I don't get it. Sige, let's say 4 and 3, let's say 8s. Okay. How many 8s? Oh. How many 8s do you have? Again, take your denominator, multiply it to the whole number, and whatever your answer is, you add it to the numerator. Expressing it as a sentence, like, yun na nga, mathematical sentence, that is 8 multiplied to 4 plus 3. 8 times 4 will basically give you 32, plus 3 will give you 35, which means there are 35 8s out of this one. Ganun lang kadali, okay?